this is probably my favorite game of the whole tournament. I was playing round 11 of the European Women's Blitz Chess Championship, and I was very excited for this game to start. Now, I had no idea who I was about to face. I mean, I kind of recognized her name, but I didn't know who it was. And little did I know that I was about to play against Sofia Belachana, which I'm very sorry if I'm pronouncing wrong, from France, a 20-year-old, very talented girl. And I didn't know that this was actually the girl who a few rounds ago was shocked when she saw that both me and my mom blundered our rooks when we were playing against each other. I'm going to insert a little clip of when that happened over here. But I remember after the game her telling me that we'd both blundered our rooks, and I thought that this girl is going to think that I'm such a beginner in chess. And I was so excited to try to prove to her that I'm not a beginner in chess. So she sat down, we shook hands, the game started, and this is the moment I realized who I was playing, and I thought, Anna, you gotta bring your A game. If I now lose to her as well, after she basically gave me this lesson, I just thought she's gonna think I'm so bad at chess. So I was really trying to play my best here. So she played the Nimso Indian, and I went for the Queen C2 line, and she played B6, which is actually my favorite line to play against. I was ecstatic when she played this, because now I can go e4, and typically here actually black should go c5, but many people go bishop b7, and I think white in many lines there gets a very good position. So she was thinking for a little bit, but I was very happy because I know these lines very, very well, and I was very comfortable. So she decided to take my knight, to which I had to take with the pawn, because otherwise my pawn on e4 is hanging. And now I was very excited because I thought, okay, I just got her bishop, which is great. So she spent a little bit more of time thinking. And I was thinking that she probably was considering if she should go bishop 7 or if she should go c5. But this is the kind of position that can really easily crumble for black if they don't really know what to do, because white has so much space over here. So she spent quite a long time thinking here, and I wasn't really exactly sure why, but she ended up playing d6, and I suppose that she was afraid of me pushing my pawn. Now I decided to make a decision. Should I push the pawn already now, or should I bring my knight out? I wasn't sure what the best option was, but to be fair, it just looked so much more natural to push the pawn before she had time to control the light squares on her long diagonal. So after she moved her knight, it just seemed so logical to threaten her rook. And I was thinking, okay, am I missing something? But I just thought, by moving my queen to e4, I'm both preventing her bishop from getting out, and I'm threatening her rook. So it just looked so natural. So I ended up going for that move, and she had to go c6. But already now it just really felt like something had gone wrong in her position. So I'm not sure if I maybe had a better continuation, but I just thought, you know, I'm going to bring out my knight, and this all looks very, very good for me. So here I was kind of regretting maybe not going bishop a3. I thought maybe I should have done that. But I did realize that I had a minute more than her, which is a huge advantage when the game is just 3 minutes long. So I was feeling really good about that. She went queen c7 here, which I kind of think she should probably have castled just to, you know, get out with the king. But then the problem was that I would have stuff like knight g5, etc. And maybe her king would get very vulnerable. So maybe this was better in that sense. Anyways, I went bishop a3 now, and my plan was to be able to go bishop d6. So she went knight c5, threatening my queen, because also now she probably wants to castle, and then she's blocking my bishop, as my bishop was otherwise stopping her from being able to castle. So I now had to make a decision. Should I take that knight, or should I move my queen? I wasn't sure what the right choice was. And so I spent a little bit of time considering here. Our time was getting closer and closer, which I wasn't necessarily so happy about, but I was really happy about my position, and I knew that her opening had gone wrong for her, so I just wanted to make sure that I really capitalized on it. So I ended up moving my queen. to attack the pawn on g7, and she castled to defend it super fast. I think now she was like, I'm gonna come back to the game. And I was thinking, okay, what is it that I can do to like win, basically? I didn't have a right answer to that. So I spent some more time thinking here. Now she had more time than me, which was definitely now a moment where I started feeling a little bit insecure, because I just thought, you know, is this going to be one of those games where I get an incredible opening and I don't know how to win? I didn't know. So I ended up just going bishop e2. I just wanted to get my pieces out. I thought it's time now to just move. If you can't find something that wins, just make moves and try to get a bit of a better position. So I was just kind of trying to make moves. So here she threatened my queen. I went queen f4, and now she went for this really tactical move, knight takes c3, which allowed me to win her rook. Well, an exchange. And now I thought that this was really good. Of course, I can't castle here because then I'm blundering my bishop, and I'm also blundering my queen because she can take it with a fork. But I thought, okay, I can just go queen e3, threaten the knight, and this knight does not have a lot of squares to go to. So she traded my bishop. I took with the queen. She brought out her bishop, and I decided to castle. It was time now to try to win with the extra exchange. We both had around a minute at this point, and she ended up getting her rook to d8. I did the same move. I brought my rook to the center as well. And now I just felt like her knight wasn't so great, and I just felt like my rook was so much stronger than hers. So she went knight g6, to which I went queen e4. The idea was just to get my queen out of this pin. I was also kind of threatening to maybe exchange rooks and take that pawn on c6. She went h6, I went h4 because I wanted to kind of threaten her knight, and I didn't want to get back rank checkmated in any way. She went h5, and when she went h5, I realized that that was a big weakness, which I could later attack perhaps. I started by going g3 just to keep my position ultra safe, but I quickly realized that that pawn on h5 was going to be a liability for her. So she ended up going c5, and now I knew that her plan was to go bishop b7, which could potentially be very dangerous for me because my queen and knight are on the same diagonal. So I ended up going knight g5, with the idea being that if she moves her knight, it's pretty much checkmate, or at least my queen enters. So now she made a big mistake. So she went bishop b7, and I was able then to go rook takes d8, with the idea being that when she takes back, I am able to take her bishop. So she was really nice after the game, and she said that she is trying to learn this opening, and that she's just started to play this opening. And, you know, I told her that I was lucky because she played one of my favorite openings to play again. So she was super nice. And the reason this was one of my favorite games, I think it was just because I got a good opening. I feel like many times in my games, I just kind of, things get really messy in the opening middle game. Here, it felt like everything was pretty smooth throughout the whole game. Even though, of course, at some point, maybe I lost a little bit of my advantage. But this was a really fun game, very tactical, under control, and I enjoyed it. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. We only had 2 rounds left at this point, and I was going to face some strong opponents. So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!